Right. Hello, everybody. Good to be back. I like doing these tea time live streams, because I get to hang out with you all. So, all right. Let me just get to my channel so I can see your guys' comments. Why do I care so much? Blah, blah, blah. All right. So, who do we got today? Today we have Mike, Moonzer, Ozzy, Nathan. We have Steve from the Blue Ribband. We have Tyler, Evan. Did I see a Scott here? Well, there's Doc. There's Daniel, Kevin, Little Gamer. So hello everyone, good to see you all. Let's go ahead and get this water to start heating up. I was going to go grocery shopping today so I can get the ingredients to make a cucumber sandwich, but the time really flew by today. I mean, honestly, it was crazy. I woke up and I was texting with my dad and my sister. We were just talking about, what we need to do today or whatever. And before I had known it, like 45 minutes had elapsed. I had no idea. It was just, the time was really speeding by today. I feel like I only woke up an hour ago, and yet it's been several hours. And so, yeah, it's really crazy how fast time is flying by today. It feels like just minutes ago I was preparing for the live stream, but it has been a solid hour since I started preparing for the live stream today. So, yeah, I had no time to do anything. Couldn't go grocery shopping to get the ingredients to make the cucumber sandwich or nothing. So, it's incredible. And by the time this live stream is done, pretty much my Sunday is over. I'm going to be making dinner or something, and then after dinner it's a few things and then off to bed. So it's crazy how fast my Sunday just went. It just flew by. I got nothing done. Unbelievable. And the train tracks are incredibly dirty. I didn't even clean them before the live stream, so I can already see the locomotive keeps stopping on occasion. Hopefully it'll make it all the way through the live stream. Yeah, it's not doing good. It wants to stop. The thing is the tracks all the way in the back need to be cleaned. But now that the train set is developed as far as it is, I can no longer lean over it to get the tracks in the back. I would have to pull out the whole layout to clean the tracks all the way back there. And I'm just kind of like, I'm moving very soon, so I might as well just wait to clean the tracks till after I get to the new place, so I'm like, with the new place, there'll be more room to move the train set around, clean it whenever I need to clean it, or do whatever I need to do. I'll be able to walk all the way around the train layout in the new place, so. Anyway, let's see how everyone's doing. Hello, Professor Ismail. Afternoon, Alex. EID is in a few days for me. What is EID? I don't know what that is. Mike says, Alex, I love your pictures of the ships. Thank you so much. I tried to choose Cunard or Cunard White Star ships for this tea time, because the tea time is technically sort of themed after a Cunard tea. Ozzy says, how's the weather today, Alex? It's a little rainy, not too bad. It's not crazy storms or anything like that. Although you wouldn't think so when you look at the forecast. It looks like it's supposed to be thundering today and crazy storms, but I've lived here for over 3 years, we've never had a single thunderstorm in those 3 years. Yet we've had nothing but rain in those 3 years. It rains constantly, and the forecast always says thunderstorms. Haven't had a single one in 3 years. That's weird for me. Living in Southern California, it's like every winter we had thunderstorms. So it was kind of weird. Yeah, kind of weird. Mike says, Alex, be careful when you text. You're right. You take the waiting time trying to avoid texting when... Yeah, I know. The thing is my whole family, even my dad, we no longer call each other unless it's absolutely important. Like, if I see my sister or my dad calling me on the phone, I think somebody has died. That's how we only call when there's an extreme emergency. Or, like, if something major has happened and we really, really need, each other's attention right now. We don't call. We just don't do that. So, it's just how our family is. But, no, usually when I text people, it goes fast. It doesn't take me time to text people, but it's just today was really, really weird. I felt like I spent 5 minutes on the phone just texting between them two, and next thing I know, 45 minutes had gone by. It was just a really, really odd day. That's not typical for me at all. Today's just went really fast. So, I had all these things I needed to do. I needed to go to Target and get some things, and, because I'm moving, so I need to buy stuff to prepare for moving, and, yeah, it was just weird. Just how fast today has gone by. So, but yeah, Moonzer says, Alex, when was the first time you were at the Queen Mary? I technically don't know, because I was really, really, really young, and I don't remember my first time being there. So, my dad took me when I was a little kid, but I don't remember how long ago it was. I don't even remember the visit, to be totally honest. So, yeah. Wyatt says, hi, Alex. Are we going to get an MTV Cribs tour of your new place? I would. I did a tour of this place when I moved into it. It didn't get very many views. I think only, like, the core people of my channel watched it, which I think is, like, that's normal, I think, because, it's not like I live in a mansion or anything. But the thing is, my dad is going to be living with me in the new place, so he's going to want his privacy. He's going to, his stuff is going to be, on display everywhere and whatnot. He's not gonna want me to do a full apartment tour, So, yeah, I don't think I'll be doing it for the new place. But the new place will be designed, or, around the idea that I could technically film at any corner of the apartment, almost, for the channel if I need to. Like, we're gonna have an office with the train layout and another computer for doing stuff. The office is where I might do the tea times from then on. I'll probably buy, like, a really nice, like, folding table, like one of those really, really nice wooden ones. Like, I want to get one that looks kind of Art Deco looking, so it matches with the tea set, and that's where I'll do the tea time streams. Otherwise, I might do the tea time stream in my bedroom, because the bedroom will be decorated as well, so it'll fit well with the YouTube videos. So, that's kind of the idea here. What am I going to do? Oh, yeah. Empty out half. Okay, let's just let that kind of preheat for now. Let's see. Mike says, Alex, can Steve put a Discord link for Moonzer's Discord? Yeah, sure. That's fine. I just don't want this to turn into, like, everybody posting their Discord links and stuff. Like, that's, you know. But, you know, if it's just for Moonzer, you know, just to help them out, then yeah. Doc says, Alex, you know, I'm going to ask for a full rundown of the pneumatic tube system on the Queen Mary. I'm stuck on this now since Friday's convo. What did we talk about on Friday? Like Titanic's tube system? The pneumatic system that transported letters from the purser's office to the Marconi room? Because that, as far as I know, that wasn't on Queen Mary. They didn't have one on Queen Mary. So, yeah. Okay. Alec is in the house. Alec is in the house. Says more Disneyland / World videos coming soon. I wouldn't say soon, but they're coming, yes. Eventually. I don't like to do as many Disney content videos as frequently as I do the other stuff because, first of all, the majority of my viewers are not Disneyland viewers. They're here for, like, Steam history and stuff like that. I do the Disney stuff because it's something I know. It's something that, you know, that on occasion is kind of like a nice little treat to learn about. Generally, those videos don't get very many views. I mean, look at my Fantasyland Castle video. It did not get nearly the amount of views that my other videos get and stuff like that. So, but yeah, eventually, yeah, there's still a lot more. I have a whole list of videos that had to be taken down more than a year ago due to a dispute I had with somebody over music. It's kind of a funny story. But anyway, the person got really mad and forced me to take down all my videos. And so I did. And I've been slowly re-releasing each of those videos again. Because I technically finished the whole series. I technically had 35 or something videos about Disneyland. And I had considered that, like, done. You know, that was my series. And I still have those videos. I just have to re-edit them so I can re-upload them. So I technically have them all, and I'm still planning to release them all. But over time, yeah. Carl Trotter. No, I hadn't heard that, actually. You know, but it's good to hear. Mad for Games says, hey, Alex, I love the poster in the background. Thank you so much. It's actually one of my favorite posters I have, so. Let's see. This gets about 5 degrees Celsius. Let's see. Professor Smell says, Eid Mubarak is a holiday for the Muslims like Christmas. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I hadn't heard of that before. Nathan says, Alex McVitie's Digestive, 79 pence or 2 packs for £1.50 at my local corner shop here in Midlands, UK. Wow, £1.50. 2 packs for £1.50. For 2 packs, I pay at least $9. Sometimes it's even more on sale. Sometimes I've gotten like 2 packs for $7, but that's rare. But yeah, two packs for about $9. I think the most I've paid was 2 packs for $12. So yeah, seeing you buy 2 packs for £1.50 is, wow, that is really cheap. Let's see. Chris says, "Hey Alex, one of my favorite starships is back. The USS Enterprise NCC 1701-D. It is back in Star Trek Picard." Oh, interesting. Daniel, geez, that's scary. I feel so bad for all the kids in the U.S. right now having to... You know, when I was in high school, yeah, we had the occasional issue, you know, like... And I've never had... I think when I was in elementary school, our school had to do, like, a temporary lockdown. I want to say there... Like, they told us there was a guy with a gun on the campus. But... Yet, I don't recall there being any arrests made or police on the campus. So I have no idea what happened that day. But that was the one time in all of my years going to school. And I went to school, you know, in Southern California, Orange County. So it was very crowded schools. It's not like it was in the middle of nowhere, you know. So, yeah, it was weird. But, I mean, now today, it's like... It's like you just can't trust society, you know? It's weird how all that is. I should reheat that. Rena says, "I took my daughter to the brunch buffet at the Queen Mary several years ago, pre-pandemic, and she had orange juice, and now she loves juice." Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, orange juice is my favorite juice. I would keep it in my fridge, you know, for me to drink, but I don't trust myself. I would go through that like crazy. So I have to not keep orange juice in the house. Now we pour this one all the way out. Cool. All right. Let's wait for 352. It's 350 on my phone, but it's 350. What is wrong with my microphone and... Or not my microphone. Microwave and stove. It's like it's either a minute behind or it's a minute ahead. It's never at the right time. I'm always changing the time. And it's like, you'd think it's like, okay, well, one of them is malfunctioning, and it's either ahead of time or behind time, but both are synchronized, and they're always either ahead or behind. Okay, it should be 352 any second now. There we go. So at 3:57, my tea will be ready. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Sunday brunch opening on Queen Mary as well. If I ever get down there, I'd like to do the Sunday brunch. Alex in the seaside of Bulgaria asks, what do you think made the QE2 famous? I think what made the QE2 famous was, well, I mean, first of all, it was, at the time, it was the last, Cunard ocean liner in service. And actually, technically, the last ocean liner service. Because there were ocean liners being used as cruise ships, but not as ocean liner service, and QE2 was the last one doing this. So that played a major factor, as well as, even into the 1990s, before being purchased by another company, Cunard was still known for its high quality, high class service, which is part of what made it so famous. Now today we think of other, cruise ship companies as being a lot more fancy than Cunard. But Cunard, up until the early 1990s, I believe, was still considered, one of the fanciest you could do, aside from a private yacht or something. But, and then finally there was the Falklands War, so when they had the Falklands War, the QE2 went and transported troops for that, and that was something that really people hadn't seen since World War II, was an ocean liner being used for troop ship service. That was pretty interesting, and the story of the Falklands War itself was famous and interesting. And so, with QE2 being directly associated with that, I think that's what really helped scoot it along. So I guess that also ties into when people ask me, like, oh, do you think the Queen Mary 2 will ever be saved the way the QE2, the Queen Mary, and all the others were saved? And I say, unless there is another war or something and the Queen Mary 2 is used for that, I don't see it happening. I mean, it could, just because the Queen Mary 2 is so close to a modern day hotel that it could actually work viably as a hotel without too much conversion done. But other than that, fame and glory coming to the Queen Mary 2 would probably have to be done through troop ship service, just the way the QE2 and the ones that came before it did. But yeah. Mike says, how long did you watch the Honor and Glory stream on Friday? I went to bed early. I watched for maybe about an hour at most. And the reason why is because I attend it every year. I see part of it every year. I've seen the full thing. I usually prefer to wait, because you see, the day after, yesterday, they posted the full sinking video. And I usually wait till the day after, and then I watch the full sinking video. It has no commentary, none of that stuff. It's just the straight video. And so, so that's why, like, I attend the live stream for maybe an hour to say hello and, offer words of encouragement and support to them. Yeah, that's about it. So I was only there for about an hour. Hello, Mark. How's it going? Good morning from Australia, Alex. Lovely to see you all. It's good to see you too, Mark. Let's see. There we go. Chris says, Disney stuff is not really my cup of tea, but with other people like it, doesn't bother me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That, there's a lot of people on my channel that are here for the Steam stuff, but then, the Disney stuff doesn't bother them, but they may or may not watch it, that kind of thing. So I have to be mindful of, like, all the viewers on my channel and what they want to see. So my views have been kind of dropping lately, and I think what people want to see at the moment is not, like, necessarily at this very moment, not like, I'm not talking about like the future, but at this very moment, I think what people want to see is another Queen Mary video or something, like a history video. Because I haven't made like an actual Queen Mary history video in a long time. You know, so it's always like a balancing act. It's like, okay, what do I think people want to see right now? Sometimes they want to see something about other ocean liners. Sometimes they want to see something about, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, I did a video recently that was, I think, an interesting topic. It was about how ocean liners were designed to make you feel like you were forgetting you were at sea. And I thought that was an interesting concept. And I think a lot of, well, first of all, I don't think YouTube actually put out notifications for that video, because I had a lot of people that were like, oh, you posted a video? And I'm like, yeah. And YouTube does that to me a lot. They just won't post notifications for some reason. So almost like nobody went to see that video. And I was kind of like, darn. Because I'm always trying to figure out, okay, what do people want to see? What's something that, you know, that right now they'll go and watch. So that way I'm not kind of spinning my wheels and making a bunch of stuff that nobody's looking at, you know. So, but yeah, we'll have to see how things go. I know I'm still trying to complete that Queen Elizabeth video, and I'm gonna try to crack down this week and get it done, because if I don't get it done this week, there's no way I'm gonna get it done next week. Next week I'm gonna be busy. So yeah. Oh, right. I'm gonna make a cup of tea. Here we go. Oh, I didn't even pour myself any milk. Jeez. Well, here, I'll put some sugar for now, so the sugar will dissolve, and then I'll go get some milk. Okay. Rotopiep says, do you think the destruction of Queen Elizabeth was an insurance job? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because the thing was that if you were going to destroy it, you might as well have destroyed it, you know, somewhere in the middle of its conversion, because then you would have spent enough money that it was worth something, but then just a little bit of money that you didn't waste money. Because you never know if the insurance company is going to actually give you the money that you are looking for. Yet the ship burned down when it was literally almost finished. It was so close to being done. Its conversion was almost done. And that's when it caught fire. It was definitely not for insurance money. And, you know, Mr. C.Y. Tung did not get a single dollar of insurance money from it. He did not. No money was given to him for that. And he was devastated. He was really devastated. And, you know, Her Majesty, or I guess not Her Majesty, but is it Her Royal Highness, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother? I don't know. Is it still Her Majesty if she's designated as the Queen Mother? Anyway, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was also in contact with Mr. Tung, and she knew that he really loved that ship, and he was really looking forward to having it out on the sea again, and so was the Queen. And so, you know, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, sent him a letter of condolence, you know, for the loss of the ship. So, no, I do not think at all it was done for the insurance money. In my opinion, it was done because there were Chinese anti-imperialists who just did not like the idea of the British monarchy's, you know, ship being there in Hong Kong Harbor. And so they lit the ship aflame. And that's what I think happened. So no, I don't think it was for the insurance money at all. Okay, I'm going to go put some milk in this because I forgot to do that. So I'll be right back. Okay. All right. So... there we go. Mad for Games says, this is my first time on the afternoon tea service live stream. I'm loving it so far. Oh, thanks so much. I'm glad. Yeah, it's, you know, it's when I first started out doing these tea streams, you know, there was a lot of confusion. People were like, well, what is this? What do we do? And it's just like, you just talk. You know, and then of course you get to see the train go by and stuff like that. So I try to make it interesting, you know. I think the first episodes, there wasn't much to see or do, but I try to make it interesting. Sorry, that light is... There we go. Okay, let's see. What were some questions people had for me? Boy, the chat really skipped while I was gone. Okay, there we go. Nathan says, great news about sharing your home with your dad, especially to see more of him participating in the tea times with you more. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to, then he can. But yeah. He'll be starting his own YouTube channel. He's kind of really wanted to. He wants to talk about his favorite stuff, you know. Movies, shows, you know, music, that kind of thing. So... cooking, possibly, you know, he wants to do stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that it was really important because, you know, where I was thinking, there was this thing where he was kind of like, well, maybe I'll get my own studio, and I was like, okay, you know, but I needed room because this studio is great. I love living here. I love this studio a lot, but I will admit there are times where I'm kind of like, there's no room for me to do anything here, you know. I need more space. I'd like to do more work on my train layout, but it seems like whenever I need to work on it, I have not enough space to actually work on it. So I think being able to spread out in a larger apartment would really help. So, you know, and he's the same, you know, same issue. Like, he needs room to be able to make YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I was kind of like, well, why don't we just get a really big apartment and then just kind of turn it into kind of a studio for that. So, yeah. I'm just reading through comments. Like, some people are talking to each other, so I'm just trying to skip past those. Chilling in the frozen north. Yeah, well, the thing is that orange juice, even the no sugar added orange juice still has a lot of sugar. So, you know, I try not to consume too much sugar. I mean, almost every day I have tea, so, and I put sugar in my tea, so I try not to consume too much sugar. Oh wow, that really hit the spot. That's good, because I didn't accidentally overbrew it this time. So I got my McVitie's chocolate-covered biscuits. Like I said earlier today, I was gonna go grocery shopping and get stuff to make the cucumber tea sandwiches, but my day passed by so fast, and it's already 4 p.m. I feel like I started the live stream only 5 minutes ago, but it's already 4:07. Oh, Steve, you don't like pulp in your orange juice? I like pulp in my orange juice. The more pulp, the better. I don't know why. I just like it. Lachlan says, my favorite part of the Queen Mary is the main lounge. Most definitely. The main lounge is fantastic. I love looking at pictures, old pictures of the main lounge, fully decked out with all the furniture and stuff, the carpeting, and the ship used to look so beautiful. Thankfully, it's getting some TLC right now, and a lot of the interiors are returning back to their beauty, which is really good. I've had people tell me that they've seen the workers sanding down the wall paneling to remove the old varnish and the old wood staining, and then restaining it and then revarnishing it, which is really good because the varnish they used to use back then, it yellows with age and it gets cloudy with age. So places like places like the first class smoking room have this beautiful tiger oak paneling. It literally looks like faces of tigers in the paneling. Beautiful wood. And but the thing is, over the years it's gotten dark and cloudy, so you almost can't even tell the grain of wood in the paneling. But if you look at old photos, it is so it is so noticeable. It is so noticeable. And you're like, wow, I wish it could look like that today. And I have heard that they are doing that. I have heard that they are sanding it down. And so I'm really excited to see what the first class smoking room looks like when it comes back. Because right now that whole area is blocked off, so you can't even go back there. But when it does open, I'm going to have my friend go there and film it for me and stuff like that. I want to do a video where I talk all about the Queen Mary's wood paneling, all the different rooms that we could possibly go to that have wood paneling. I want to talk about it and the different kinds of woods, why it was used, and there are some woods on the ship. I think at least 2, if not 6. I think there's 6, but I think at least 2 of them no longer exist. They are extinct woods. So it's almost like the Queen Mary is like, a museum of different types of exotic wood grain. So it's really interesting. Chris says, hey Alex, I like your tea time streams. Thank you so much. I like doing them too. Doc says, Alex, were there any notable or famous events hosted on the Queen Mary after she was docked as an attraction? Notable or famous events? I'm sure there were, but I just can't think of any. I know, there have been celebrities who've done concerts either on or near the ship. There have been other celebrities who have done shows and things on the ship. I can't think of any off the top of my head, to be totally honest, so I don't know. If Steve has an answer to that, then Steve can try to answer it. Nathan says, do you ever see Queen Mary 2 doing something significant in her service career like previous queens, maybe carrying Ukrainian refugees, for example? I don't currently know. It's hard to say. I mean, the circumstances behind why the QE2 was used as a troop ship were really rare, and and I don't know the words for it, but just it was so random. it's just all the stars aligned for the QE2 to be used as a troop ship. So I don't foresee any possible reason why the Queen Mary 2 would be used for something like that, transporting refugees or troops. I can't possibly foresee anything like that, because the circumstances surrounding the Falklands War were itself just really just bizarre, combinations of circumstances that led to the use of the QE2. So yeah, I can't predict it at all. Doc says, I would love to live on a converted ocean liner. Would probably rearrange anything if that was an option in Tampa. We have plenty of water. It's strange no one lived full-time on Queen Mary. I mean, it's like I keep saying to people, like, I wouldn't want anybody to live full-time on the Queen Mary, because people do things, like, look at what an apartment complex goes through on a year-to-year basis, I mean, you have people that mark up their walls, even people like me who are really, really careful with my apartment. Like, I keep my apartment in really good condition. I do not want, I don't want my security deposit to be, completely, used up by the end of my time here. So I keep my apartment really, really clean, really well kept. But things happen, people nail stuff into the walls, and accidents happen, I've seen so many people who don't know how to cook, and they're like, I'm going to try to cook today. And the next thing I know, they light up their kitchen on fire, and fire on an old ocean liner like the Queen Mary is not a good thing. The Queen Mary is very fire safe for the 1930s, but not at all fire safe compared to a modern cruise ship. So the thing is that the Queen Mary is still very susceptible to catching on fire. And that's one of my major concerns. But just even then, you got all these beautiful staterooms that have rare wood paneling. One of the staterooms, by the way, still has its original marquetry panel. If you don't know what that is, a marquetry panel is an artwork that is created from using exotic and rare woods, all of them having different grains and different color tones, and they're used to arrange kind of a mosaic to make a beautiful image. And they used to have them in at least almost in every room, and there's still one room that still has one left inside of it. But imagine someone living in that stateroom, and their kids are like, oh, I wonder like if I can carve my name into this thing, So it's things like that where I'm just like, I'm really glad no one lives on the Queen Mary, because the history would get destroyed just from people living their lives in their homes, catching their kitchens on fire, their dogs or cats peeing on the walls, just all kinds of things. So, yeah. Let's see here. Kane says, do you have a Keurig machine? No, I don't. I'm not really much a fan of Keurig stuff. And when I do drink coffee, for instance, I would rather go out to get coffee. But I think my dad drinks a lot of coffee. So probably when we get the new apartment, we're probably going to get something to make coffee. I think he prefers French press because it's easy. So we might do that. He's not really the kind of person that likes a coffee machine. So yeah, we might end up doing French press or something. I really like the Bee House brewer. So if I do anything, I'll probably get a Bee House brewer. I have the kettle to use it. So, yeah, so I don't know. But I don't drink that much coffee on my own. I drink more coffee when I'm around my dad, because he always drinks coffee. But yeah, Keurig I know is good for more than just that, but I don't see a need for it. We have one at the leasing office of this apartment complex, and whenever I go to the leasing office, I'll make myself a cup of coffee or something from the Keurig. But it's not good. I don't like it. Yeah. Chilling in the Frozen North says, "Hi, Alex. Do you know what was being done to renovate the Queen Elizabeth when it was destroyed?" Oh, I mean, where do I begin? You know, everything. You know, they were keeping a lot of the original first class staterooms as stateroom cabins for. So the Seawise University, which was the new name of the Queen Elizabeth, Seawise University was not just going to be a university at sea with people living on it, but also between its voyages, because it was going to travel from place to place in the Pacific and possibly the world. But during its voyages, they were going to carry cruise passengers. So people who were there to go from location to location. And so they were going to keep the first class staterooms and cabins for cruise passengers, and then second class and third class cabins were going to be converted for use with the university students. So there probably would have been 2 students per cabin depending on the size, and they would have been converted to university cabins, and then a lot of the public rooms on the ship, lounges and things like that, garden rooms, all that, would have been converted into classrooms. So, and I think the main restaurant on the Queen Elizabeth, Seawise University, the main restaurant, first class main restaurant, would have been kept as a commissary for the university. They might have kept like things like the what do you call it, the veranda grill. Restaurants like that probably would have been kept for the cruise passengers. And then I think the second class restaurant, main dining room, would have been used for the staff, the faculty, and the crew. While third class main restaurant probably would have been converted into a couple of different classrooms. So there was things like that. They were, Mr. Tung, the owner of the ship, really wanted to preserve as much of the ship as possible. But even with all the stuff he wanted to preserve, there was still a lot of stuff to do. So I know that while the ship would have still retained a lot of its originality, it would have still had quite a lot of changes to it. So, yeah, that's what I can tell you so far. Chase Railway Lines Railroad says, "Where did you get the 244 on the layout?" It is a... they don't make it anymore, but I bought it off of eBay. So it's a Bachmann locomotive for ON30 scale. And yeah, so I got it off eBay. You know, a lot of the ON30 stuff is not made anymore. When I first started collecting ON30 stuff, they had just begun the decline of making ON30 stuff. So it's actually kind of sad. I got into the ON30 part of the hobby right at the end of it. So now it's getting harder and harder to find locomotives at decent prices. Now they're getting very expensive because everybody's selling them for a premium. So Carl Trotter says, "Alex, my dear fellow, are you worried about the future of historic truth in this world of exponentially improving AI?" Historic fake news, basically. Kind of, yeah. Actually, it's interesting you bring that up. I'm really actually glad you brought that up because that is an important topic. yesterday, my friend Shiloh, he sent me a message on Discord. He says, "You gotta hear this. This is amazing." And I'm like, "What is it?" You know? And he's like, "My friend made this." He goes, "Well, actually, my friend had an AI make this." And I listened to it, and it sounded like it was just audio only, but it sounded like one of those old radio newsreels that you heard during World War II. Talking about, the Germans have bombed blah blah blah, and now we have people fleeing for their lives and going to this city and that city, but it was a whole newsreel. And so Shiloh's friend had basically wrote the script for the whole thing and gave it to the AI, and the AI put audio to it, used different voices for the different people that were talking. It did the whole newsreel with sound effects and everything. And I was like, if I had heard this and you did not tell me that it was made by an AI, I would have thought this was a legitimate newsreel from the 1940s in the UK. It's scary. I told him, I said, I'm like, Shiloh, this kind of worries me, because there could be people, who, let alone trying to start wars by faking, a battle happening or something and sending the video to, a trigger-happy country. But also the fact that you could fake history with it. Just look at all the deep fake stuff that people do today, and that's just with photographs. So it is kind of scary, actually. After hearing that newsreel, it sounded so real, it sounded like it was an actual newsreel from the 1940s with different people talking and giving their input on the information, and I was just like, wow. So yeah, that is a legitimate concern of mine. You'd have to be really bored to want to fake history like that, but if you were a country that... there are certain countries that already teach history in a way that's not true. U.S. is one of them. But now imagine the U.S. is like, all right, well, here's a great way we can fake this. We'll use AI to create a whole article or a whole video or a whole newsreel to prove our point. So, and it just would be easier than ever. So... yeah, it's scary. Maria says, could the Queen Mary 2 be converted into a troop ship if Britain went to war? Could, yes. Will, not likely at all. I was telling everybody that even if, Britain or the US, went to war... they would have to exhaust every last military vessel and possibly cargo vessel before they ever started looking at, cruise ships or the Queen Mary 2. The Queen Mary 2 would probably be more likely than a cruise ship to be converted as a troop ship because of its ability to go faster and handle really bad weather, like worse weather than a cruise ship can handle. So, yeah, you're more likely to see Britain take... the Queen Mary 2 and use it as a troop ship than to take... I don't know any British cruise lines, but a British cruise line ship. Okay. Another Cunard ship. You're more likely to see the Queen Mary 2 being used as a troop ship than, let's say, the Queen Anne being used as a troop ship. So, but that being said, I just don't see it really happening. They would have to be really, really, really desperate. So, I don't know. But, it is possible, yes. Now, I think the Queen Mary 2 would make a very good troop ship. The only thing is that she might be really, really noticeable. Because she's so huge. But, I don't know. Paint it war gray and should look fine. Doc says we got to get Alex's dad to host a new wave music cocktail hour. It's actually a really good idea. I'll present that idea to him. Alex in Seaside of Bulgaria says, why were the British shipping companies the main ones when it came to ocean liners in both the 19th and 20th centuries? Well, first of all, it was Great Britain. You know, they had an empire. Britain was the most powerful nation on the planet up until, you know, World War I. And that's when it started declining. You know, but that's the main reason. You know, Britain was huge. They had establishments, you know, countries all over the world that, you know, were part of the Commonwealth. They still do, but it's very, what's the word? A lot less. I think they had something like 50 different countries under their command in the early 20th century. And now there's only 15 others, I think. It's hard for me to remember. I don't really talk about this stuff very much, but that is the main reason why. You know, Britain at one point was still more powerful than the U.S. So it wasn't until after World War II that the U.S. really became acknowledged as the most powerful country on the planet. So Ritupium says, will you be watching Charles's coronation? Absolutely. That is a historic event. Moonzer says, Alex, Port Everglades, Florida made a big-time mistake by giving the Queen Elizabeth to C.Y. Tung. If Florida did not give the ship to C.Y. Tung, there could have been a chance that we could have still been able to see her today. Well, Florida didn't give the ship to C.Y. Tung. Florida could not take care of the ship. They lost all their money. They just couldn't get the job done. And the ship was taken back by Cunard, because Cunard still partly owned the ship when they when they sold it to Florida, or the people operating the ship in Florida, I should say. They still owned a piece of the pie. And so when the companies just could not get the ship, you know, they could not put money into it. They lost all their money. They couldn't convert it into a hotel and attraction. It was used as a tourist attraction where you could take tours of the ship, but you couldn't stay aboard the ship. It was not like the Queen Mary, where you could wander around, stay on the ship, go to, you know, there were no gift shops or anything. So it was just not profitable. And so Cunard took it back when the other company went bankrupt. And so it was Cunard's ship, and Cunard sold it to Mr. Tung, because the only other option that Cunard had was to scrap the ship. So, and of course, nobody wanted Cunard to scrap the ship, so the best option was to give the ship to Mr. Tung. Yes, looking back on it, if the ship had never been given to Mr. Tung, and maybe was given to somebody, I say maybe because we don't know if anybody else would have bought the ship. We don't know that. But the thing is maybe if somebody else had bought the ship, like New York or something, had bought the Queen Elizabeth, then maybe the ship would still be around. But you can't look at history with hindsight. I mean, yes, hindsight can help you kind of figure things out, but you can't look at history with hindsight. You can't look at it and go, oh, if they had just not given it to Mr. Tung. You can't do that, because the thing is that oh, hold on. But you can't do that because the thing is that if it had never been sold to Mr. Tung, maybe nobody except the scrappers would have bought it, and it would have been scrapped anyway. And Mr. Tung was not the problem. You know, the problem was something external, something that he probably couldn't have controlled. You know, so that's the thing is, I don't blame him for that, you know, and I don't think other people should blame him either. You know, sometimes bad things happen, and you can't really control it. And as much as you wish that something had been done differently, you don't really know if that would have helped, you know. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Oh, what happened to my... Every time I come back from a commercial, the chat just goes... And now I gotta go find where I was. I was near Rytupiup's question. Ah, here we go. Alright, so... Mad for Game says, I have a question, Alex. If you were the owner of the Queen Mary, how would you make it more interesting of an attraction for historians like us? You know, there are some basic things you can do to the Queen Mary to make her more interesting for modern audiences. I wouldn't just say for historians only. I would say for modern audiences, people who just need a bit more. First of all, it all starts with an app. And Long Beach, if you're listening, which I know sometimes they are, it starts with an app. You hire a company to create an app for you. And this app, what it should do are three basic things. It should give you the ability to see the ship on a map, so you can pull the map up anytime you want. You don't have to walk around the ship to find a map. And that map can give you access to information about dining, reservations for tours, and even areas of the ship that are historic. So if you're forward near the third-class staircase and you're on B deck, you know, you could see, oh, I'm standing right next to, you know, the former synagogue, and maybe there's some quick tidbits about that. Maybe a paragraph of information with a photo or two that you could click on and find information on that. So there should be a map that does that. Then there should be what was I going to say? There should be, like... I think I combined two ideas into one, actually. There was the map that gives you the ability to do, like, reservations and tours, and then as well as find historic information on the ship on that same map. And then the third thing that the app should do is it should provide people with games that allow them to wander the ship in order to play the games. So you could have something along the lines of like that Pokemon Go app game that people were playing, where you use your phone and it sees a Pokemon creature in augmented reality, and you got to capture them all. You got to go places and find them. If there were things like that necessarily on the ship, not necessarily a monster, but if it was something like an artifact or something that plays into a larger storyline, that could really help. I had this idea that I was trying to present to a bunch of people where there's a game that you play on your app on the Queen Mary, and it's designed to take up your whole day, essentially. And what it is the idea is that the ship is about to set sail on a voyage, but before they can leave, you have to solve a mystery. You discover that there's a mystery person on the ship whom you'll later find out is part of, like, the Irish mafia, right? but they're traveling and trying to get to New York, right? And you have to figure out what they're up to and how to stop them and stuff like that. And apparently they're planning this big bank heist, you know. They have a getaway car being loaded into the cargo hold and everything. So, you know, you go through the whole ship, you're kind of following their footsteps, their breadcrumbs, if you will. You're going to different historic places on the ship, finding artifacts that look historic and fit with the area they are in, but separately can be used on your phone for the app game, and, you know, things like that. So the idea is that you don't want to turn the ship into something that is historically invasive. So you wouldn't want to install anything on the ship that destroys the historic integrity of the ship. But using an app on your phone, you can, you can do something fun that is not invasive to the exhibits on the ship. Because I know the biggest thing is people are like, oh, I don't want to see them install game consoles everywhere and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, this is not consoles all over the ship. This is on your phone. This is an app that you can play. Oh, there was a third thing that I was thinking of, which is the ability to wander through areas of the ship that no longer exist and use augmented reality on your phone to see the room as it should have looked. So one of the things I was talking about was when you go down into the boiler rooms with a tour guide, the tour guide could say, oh, now use the app on your phone, click this, and use your phone to look around the room, and you will see the boiler rooms as they should have looked, you know, when the ship was in service. So the idea is you can walk around this big empty boiler room, and you can walk around the boilers. You can walk inside the boilers and see what's inside them, you know, things like that. So that was kind of my idea. And I said, look, that app is your basic key to success, your most basic key. The first thing you should do, and the first thing that will start earning you a lot of money, because that's one of the things that people really, really want to do when they go to a place like the Queen Mary, is they want to live the history. And one of the ways of doing that in this modern world is bringing them into that. And the whole thing about the app, too, is that if you're going to the Queen Mary and you don't want to be on your phone, fine, you don't have to. That's the whole point. That's the whole reason why there should be an app, is that way you're not forced to be on your phone if you don't want to. You don't have to play the games. You don't have to be on the app. But if you do want to learn more, and you don't want to have to pay for a private tour guide, you don't want to have to, you know, walk around with a booklet of photographs to see what areas looked like in the past, then you can use your phone to do it. So that's one of the ways to do it. But the other most important thing is that they should be offering experiences on the ship that are legitimately Art Deco style. So, you know, from the Art Deco age. Let me finish this real quick because I don't want my tea to get cold. So they should be offering experiences like they should have a daily schedule of things that are happening on the ship. The main lounge should be used all day long. You know, for instance, the main lounge could be used for different things. Maybe, you know, at 4 p.m. every day they have afternoon tea. Or maybe, you know, just before noon they have high tea. You know, they should have, late at night they should, you know, bring comedians or, you know, or people to do performances on the stage and stuff like that. And, you know, so the main lounge should be used all day. Areas on promenade deck, they should be used as the main attraction for the whole day. They kind of sort of are. Promenade deck today is arranged in such a way that it's the main area of the ship, but I don't think it's being used to its most efficient way, you know. And then, you know, I'd say like every night you have the option to attend, you know, a fine dining dinner, let's say in the first class main restaurant, right? The main restaurant is arranged at nighttime to prepare for a fancy dinner. And so all this is kind of like stuff that you would do on the Queen Mary during a normal voyage. But it's scheduled every day, and there's something different to do throughout the week. And the idea is that you could attend these events individually and pay for them individually, Or you could buy like a package that says, I'm staying, I don't know, I'm staying the weekend over the ship, and I want to be able to go to any one of these events, do any one of these things, and live the Art Deco experience aboard the Queen Mary. Live on the ship as if I am there in the 1930s experiencing the ship. They should do something like that. In the past, they've done events here and there. But doing events here and there is not the same as a regularly scheduled thing and a regularly scheduled offering. You know, people in my generation and younger, when we travel, we look to be immersed in a different place, a different time, a different world. That's why theme parks are so popular right now, is because they're really the only places you can go to really get away from the modern world and go into a other world entirely. The Queen Mary is actually perfect for that role. The minute you step on the ship, you are blocked from everything modern if you want to. There is the ability to put down your phone and just live the experience. The only problem is the ship doesn't currently offer that. They don't offer constant things for people to do as if it was an actually operating ocean liner. It's just a museum, tours, and a hotel. It should be an all-inclusive experience for getting away from the real world and transporting yourself back to a much safer 1930s, an idealized 1930s aboard the Queen Mary. It's almost like a self-contained theme park, but without the rides. And that is exactly what the Queen Mary should be used as. And I think that would be really cool. There should be places for kids to hang out. You know, the Queen Mary used to have nurseries. Granted, they're outdated by today's standards, but they could use empty spaces on the ship as a brand new kids club. There could be spaces for kids of all ages. You know, you could have 3 different areas, one for young kids, one for older kids, and one for teenagers. And all of them could be, just like a cruise ship, monitored by credentialed people. You know, there could be places that are for adults just to hang out and have fun. You know, things like that. It's the same it's the same concept, but kind of taking what they do on cruise ships and applying it to the Queen Mary and the Queen Mary's historic context. So that way you're not doing anything that is outside the realm of what should be allowed on the Queen Mary, but yet is still modern enough that people today will enjoy it. And, the Queen Mary should be one of those places you go to escape the modern world and go back to an idealized 1930s. And that's how I think you can do it. It's 2 very simple concepts, very, very simple concepts. And the cheaper of the two concepts is the app, the phone app. So it's still expensive, but it's the cheaper of the two. So that's kind of like how I see it happening. Mark says, are you moving into an apartment with your dad, Alex? Fantastic. So heartening to hear that. I hope you guys found an awesome place. Yeah, it's a really nice place. It's still in the same apartment complex I live in. I love this apartment complex. I've lived in a lot of different places my whole life. But this is by far my favorite apartment complex. It is so nice, and the staff are amazing people, and the views are beautiful. The apartment complex, this apartment complex takes pride in the fact that it's in Oregon, so it's designed to look like a forest, and that's one of the things I really like about it. But like I look at the apartment complexes that are nearby, and they don't even use like native plants or anything. They're building one nearby that has like magnolia trees, and I'm like, magnolia trees are southern, south, like in the American South. Like, why are they planting those here? Like, this is Oregon. You should be enjoying the forests and the trees and stuff. It should be natural landscapes, and that's what we have here on this property. So that's one of the things I love about it. But the new apartment will be perched at the top of the hill, and so actually we might have views of the surrounding landscapes. I don't know for certain because I haven't been inside that particular apartment. I was inside a similar apartment to check it out before I signed the lease, and they were like, oh, the apartment you're going to be in is above this one, but this is the one that's available to show you right now. But I know when my apartment becomes empty, the people that live in it currently are moved out, they'll let me walk around it and see it and stuff like that. But I think there should be views of the surrounding landscape. I was hoping for a view of Mount Hood, but it's not going to happen. Almost. If I went out onto my porch, I might be able to see Mount Hood from there, but I don't know for certain. So, let's see. K4RNA says, hello, Alex. I have to fly to Chicago tomorrow. So what better way than to spend it on this channel? Oh, nice. Sugar. Here we go. Chris says, I haven't seen any soda or sugar for about 15 years now. That's good. Yeah, I don't drink soda that often. I used to. When I was a kid, every dinner or something like that, we would crack open a soda and drink that for dinner. But, my dad eventually, he stopped drinking soda altogether. He just wanted to be healthier, and that really helped him out a lot, actually, was just stop drinking soda. And me too. It took me several years longer, but I just stopped drinking soda wherever I went. And I'm not officially, I have not officially quit soda, but I don't buy it. I haven't bought, soda to keep in the apartment for years. I think I only have soda as a treat, which is really what soda is meant for, actually. Soda was meant as kind of like a dessert treat, but it became something you just drink around the house eventually. But yeah, on occasion, if I'm spending time with family and we're doing a meetup or something at a restaurant, I might order a soda, but generally I don't. I always try to order something that's not related to soda. So if I'm going out to dinner, I'll probably get wine or something. I went to a Mexican restaurant, I got horchata, so I didn't get soda. So yeah, I almost rarely have soda now. I'm very proud of myself for that. I'm not a soda addict anymore. Not that I was before, but it's always good. As Julia Child used to say, all things in moderation, including moderation. So, one of those things I live by. Years of Sea says, where was the Queen Mary's second-class smoking room? So the second-class smoking room was also located on Promenade Deck. If you've been on the Queen Mary recently, before the pandemic closure, and you went all the way down to the aft end of Promenade Deck, there is a place there called the chapel, the wedding chapel. It's where people can get married today. That was originally the second-class smoking room. So that's where it is. It's on Promenade Deck, and today it's used as a wedding chapel. Part of me kind of hopes they don't use it as a wedding chapel anymore. First of all, it doesn't look like a wedding chapel. It looks like a smoking room. It literally does. It looks like a smoking room. So I'm kind of hoping they don't use it as a wedding chapel anymore. I think what they should use it for is either as a place for visitors to relax, use it as a lounge, or it should be used as a gift shop, honestly. Because, I know that they have 2 gift shops on... See, this is kind of weird. I have this whole plan in my head for how the Queen Mary should be used, right? Currently there are 2 major gift shops on the ship. There's one in the old library, and there's one in the old drawing room. They should combine those and turn it into a very large gift shop in what used to be the second-class smoking room, and convert the library into a bookstore and then the drawing room should be converted into like uh, uh, like a kind of like Queen Mary home goods kind of thing. So like all the touristy gift shop stuff you could get at the smoking room gift shop, but then the more refined stuff, books and home goods, could be done in the drawing room. So, that kind of thing. That's kind of how I see it done. I have a whole plan laid out, so I'm probably not even remembering it correctly, but I have a whole plan laid out. Like, if Long Beach ever came to me and said, how should we arrange the ship? I'd be like, well, Long Beach, I have this list here that has every room on the ship and how it should be used. Like, I have that. So, Long Beach, if you're listening, I have that. Let's see. Chilling in the Frozen North says, Alex, a talk on the woods on Queen Mary sounds interesting, especially in the extinct woods. I'm now interested in things such as if the woods were veneer plies and how they were affixed to the surfaces. Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. At least maybe I'm mostly interested in how it was done on Queen Mary. It's just really interesting. I can't stop saying interesting, but it is fantastic just to learn about how it was done on the Queen Mary and why they did the things the way that they did it. So that is something I'm looking forward to. I just need more footage of the ship before I can do that. Ocean Channel says, just realized that you and Oceanliner Designs are both streaming. Oh, I had no idea. Alex in Seaside of Bulgaria says, did you know that the Cunard line had some cargo ships as well? Yes, I did, in fact. I don't know any by name, but I did know that they have cargo ships. Good afternoon, Ron. Nathan says, Alex, will you be watching the King's coronation celebrations? Yes, absolutely. Chris says, hey, Alex, what is the tea of the day? Today it is Earl Grey. I know this thing is kind of, like, hard to read, but yeah, today is Earl Grey. Munzer says, Alex, my dad is curious to know if you drink green tea. I drink green tea only if I'm having Japanese food, like sushi especially. Like, I've had green tea after my meals when I go to like a sushi restaurant, but that's the only time I drink green tea. Yeah, I don't like sweet tea either, Munzer. My part of my family is Southern. They're from the Southern states, and a lot of them drink sweet tea. I can't stand the taste of sweet tea. I just can't. And my mom used to make sun tea all the time. Sun tea is a form of sweet tea that is brewed using sunlight. I don't like sun tea either, so... Daniel says, Alex, what were those pipelines along Queen Mary's hull when it was a troop ship in World War II? That was a degaussing strip. So it was a special copper strip designed to neutralize the magnetic field of the Queen Mary's hull. That way she didn't trigger underwater mines, because the mines were designed to go off with the triggering of the magnetic field from a large ship that was made of steel. So that's what they were. They were degaussing strips. And we don't even know if they were that useful because, obviously the Queen Mary never struck a mine, but I want to say it was 1943, and a mine blew up just 300 feet off the starboard side. 300 feet from the hull of the ship. You know, the Queen Mary is 1,019 feet long. So when you think about 300 feet, it's not that far compared to how close the ship was. And and everybody suspects it was an underwater mine that blew up. And it makes you wonder how effective the degaussing strip really was if a mine 300 feet away blew up. So, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Octarian says, why do you think the SS America / American Star wasn't unbeached? I mean, I'm probably the wrong person to ask about that, but generally speaking, if a ship is not unbeached, or I should say refloated, if a ship is not refloated, oftentimes it's because it's just not feasible, you know, either financially or physically. So that's usually the reason. Good afternoon, Shiloh. Russell Cooper says, what strength of wind would prevent the Queen Mary leaving port? I don't know. I've never heard of the Queen Mary not being able to leave port because of wind. So I actually don't know what it would take to stop the ship from leaving port. Because the Queen Mary was designed to handle hurricane force winds. Even the Queen Mary 2 today, which is much taller than the original Queen Mary, still handles hurricane force winds on the ocean today, so nothing stops them, really. Moonzer says, the Beach Boys played at the Queen Mary in Long Beach in 1981. That would have definitely been... So, Doc, if you're listening, that would have been a major event. The Beach Boys playing on the Queen Mary. Tyler, I think the coronation will also be done live on the internet, on YouTube. So just, you know, look up YouTube on the coronation day, and I'm sure one of the... Because I watched the Queen's funeral procession live on YouTube, because I don't have cable either. So just look it up on YouTube. They usually have... usually a news station does it live. So I'm going to see it on YouTube. Mike says, why did I get an ad during the stream? So I'm trying something new. Because, yeah, I just want to see if it works. But basically, there's a feature now that allows me to have ads automatically placed in the middle of streams, and I'm trying it out. So that's why. Usually the ad is before the stream. Carter Asher. I mean, I try not to answer questions that have nothing to do with my channel, but I mean, just to answer it, yes, I do plan to watch the new Peter Pan movie or show. I don't know if it's a show, but I think it's a movie. But yeah, I do want to see it. Sorry, I'm just reading comments and trying to see what I can answer. Alex, since he's out of Bulgaria, says, Alex, do you know which is the largest cruise ship in the world? Yeah, it's the, God, I always get the... Sorry, I get the names mixed up. It's this... It's the class that is of the seas. So whatever... It's like something of the seas. And I can picture it in my head, but I don't remember the name off the top of my head. But I have seen it. I know what it looks like. And I've even used images of it in my videos. But the name of it is escaping my memory, but it's one of those classes of ships that's like of the seas. So Mark says, something I would like to see as a hotel guest on the Queen Mary is some sort of entertainment, traditional style in evening, dancing, bingo, big band, you name it. These were traditional evening pastimes. That would be nice. But I do think that something is to be said, that there has to be something that also kind of, in the event, speaks to people of the modern age, because a lot of people my age, for instance, we don't go out dancing. We just don't. Like, we don't even go to, like, if we go to clubs at all, hardly anyone dances at clubs, really. It's all about the bar and stuff like that. So, you know, people my age, we don't go dancing anymore. It's just not what we do. So, if you're going to host a dancing event, it probably should be one that's choreographed. Like, okay, like, let me put it this way. When I worked at Disneyland, we had these nights that were like throwback nights to the old 1950s and 60s. Back then, Disneyland had those special nights where it was couples and young people, and they would have swing bands, you know, play music, and the kids would all, you know, dance, you know, swing music and all that. And one of those nights, you know, we had like a Elvis impersonation guy come in, and he was gonna do like Elvis music. And what we had was we had a bunch of swing dancers, you know, like trained swing dancers that came in to perform the dance as it was happening, because we knew a lot of people were not going to get up and dance. Like, Disney knows that. Disney was like, yeah, these are like everybody that's attending this are young people and they don't dance. So if we're going to do a swing dance party, we have to hire dancers. And so that's what they did, and it worked. It was a really successful event. I remember the whole restaurant being filled with people, and some people, like the older folks, you know, who were used to dancing, they got up and kind of had their own area to dance and stuff too. But a lot of the younger people my age were kind of just sitting there enjoying the show. So that, you know, and it was a very successful event. And so I do think that if they do bring something like that back to the Queen Mary, where people do a dance or something in the main lounge or in the main restaurant, they better hire dancers, because people my age and younger probably won't get into it that same way. We'll enjoy watching it. I enjoy watching people dance, but I would not want to. I would not. I would refuse to dance. I do not like dancing. So it would have to be something that speaks to the younger audiences. I think dance events are perfectly fine, but you'll have to hire people to dance, because a lot of people my age will not do it. So, isn't that weird? That's kind of weird, isn't it? But when you think about it, like, hire people to dance. But yeah. Chris says, Alex, southern trees, 'cause I was talking about the magnolia trees that a nearby apartment complex is planting, probably won't do very well in the northwest where you live. I don't think so either. I looked at I kid you not, I walked by the apartment complex a couple weeks back, because they just received all their shipment of new plants that they're going to plant all over the place. I'm like, a lot of these plants are from Southern California. I'm like, and the rest, like the magnolia trees, are from the East Coast. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, this is Oregon. They should be planting, Douglas firs. They should be planting maple trees. They should be planting, birch trees. There's all kinds of beautiful, flora up here in the Pacific Northwest, and they're not using a single thing that is native in that apartment complex. That's why I like this one so much, because you walk around it, it's nothing but native plants. And it's just beautiful. It's like we have, and I think the only non-native plants we have, because we have regular maple trees, but we also have Japanese maple trees. And the Japanese maple trees are beautiful. And they may be from Japan, but they are maple, so they do kind of at least fit. And those are beautiful, especially during fall. But yeah, they're using plants that stay green year round. I think that's why they're doing it. Is because technically what was I just calling it? What kind of tree was I just talking about? The magnolia trees, those are evergreens. They'll stay green year round. And a lot of the other bushes and plants that they bought, grasses and things like that, those will generally stay green year round. And I think that's why they chose those. They didn't want any of their trees to lose their leaves and stuff like that. I just think it's wrong. I mean, it's just, I think part of it too is that's one of the reasons why I left Southern California. I hated how everything was planted there. If there was plants at all, the whole place was filled with concrete. I like being out here in nature, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just complaining over nothing, but that's just who it's just, I like that. You live in the forests. You should enjoy living in the forests. Jeez. But anyway. Empire of Waterloo says, when do you move into the new apartment, or did you already? No, I didn't already yet. It will be soon. I can't say when, but it'll be soon. I don't tell people when I do stuff, because I don't want them to find out, or, you have to be really careful what you say on the internet these days, so, yeah. But you'll know I'm in the new place, because this background will not be the same. So, yeah, you'll know. Also, thank you for the informative Queen Mary update videos. Those are my only good source of accurate Queen Mary updates. You're welcome, Empire of Waterloo. Yeah, I plan to do one for May. Or do I? No, I meant June. I'm sorry. Because I don't think my friend will be there in May. But I might have him go. I might, ask him very politely to go in June and film more of the ship. So that way I can do a better update. Because I think by June, the main hall will be completed and work will begin on other areas like the observation bar. So if I have him go in June, there will be something new to show you, like a lot of new stuff. And a lot more of the ship will be open by June. So restaurants and things like that will be open by June. So I'll have him visit some of those places and film them so I can show you guys what's changed with the ship. So I expect that the next update video on the Queen Mary's repairs will probably happen early June. Yeah. Alex in the Seaside of Bulgaria says, do you like stories about ghost sailing ships? What do you think of them, and why do you think they exist? I don't think I've actually heard any. I didn't actually know that any of them existed, to be totally honest. This is my first time even considering that maybe one of them is true. But I don't know. I haven't heard any, to be honest. Justin says, I love having the sun in the background while doing my art. Just so you know, once again, I appreciate the updates on the Queen Mary. Of course, no problem. Justin asks, do you ever drink wine? If so, what kind, if ever? I very rarely drink wine, but when I do, but when I do, I prefer. Let's see, what do I drink? So, I like Merlots, I like Cabernets, and I like. There's a third one that I really like, but not. Is it Bordeaux? Do I like Bordeaux's? I don't remember. I don't know, but I'll tell you what I look for in a wine. I like, first of all, I like wines that have a bit of sweetness to it. Not too much, just a little bit, and then there are some wines that are very astringent. They leave your mouth kind of dry. I don't like that. So I look for wines that don't, if it makes any sense, don't make my mouth feel too dry. And that's why I prefer things like Cabernets and Merlots. But there are some wines that, like, I just don't drink because of that purpose. But I very rarely drink wine. I guess the only reason why is, like, it's kind of weird. Like, I have no problem with alcohol. On very rare occasion, I will drink it as kind of like a celebratory thing, whenever, like, it's my sister's birthday or something, my brother-in-law will pour everybody a shot or whatever, and I'll take a shot, but only one. I will not take more than one. I don't know. I don't prefer to drink alcohol. It's just kind of strange, but I will. I think the last time I had it actually was 2 days ago. I like to make Japanese food a lot. I'm not, like, professional or anything, but I do like to make Japanese food. And the other day, my dad and I shared what's it called? sake. We shared a sake, which is rice wine, and it was really good. That was the best one I ever had, actually. That was the best one I ever had, and I was really surprised. I've had lots of different sake before, and they're usually very dry, and I'm okay with that. I only have it very rarely, but this one was nice. It was sweet. It was not dry, and it reminded me a lot of horchata, actually, because horchata is cloudy and it's kind of sweet. This was like that too. The sake was like that. It still had its rice cloudiness, and it was just very, very good. And I told my dad, I'm like, this is the best sake I've ever had. Like, that, I never had anything like. So yeah. Anyway, that was good. I'm gonna ask him to, buy that again next time we go, because he knows what brand it is. I don't remember what brand it was, or what style or flavor it was. So next time we go to, because I go to a Japanese store to buy groceries all the time and stuff like that, and so that's where we get all of our stuff. So yeah, but yeah, when it comes to alcohol, that's kind of it. I do have a favorite cocktail. And that would be whiskey sour. So I really do enjoy whiskey sours. And then another one of my favorites that I like, but I almost never ever have, I think last time I had it was 6 years ago, is a hurricane. I like hurricanes a lot. But yeah, that's the last time I ever had it. But yeah, whiskey sours are definitely my thing. So, but yeah, I don't keep alcohol in the house usually. I just never feel up to drinking it, to be totally honest. Zachary was like, "Hi Alex, I literally just read a comment from you on that video of the emo girl in 2005. That's hilarious." Yeah, I think I just commented that yesterday. I was watching a video that showed emo girl, coming down the stairs, and it's something like throwback to 2005 or something like that. And I was in high school in 2005, so I remember being in high school, and the emo thing was really big for everybody. But ironically, the way the girl was dressed in that video was not emo, it was scene. There were girls that were scenes, and they dressed like that. And so, yeah, I had left a comment where I was talking about what high school is like for me, because a lot of people don't believe it, but I was a goth in high school, and and I was very into like 80s music and stuff like that. So I wasn't like the modern, like Korn and whatever goth, But my friend was scene, and I had a bunch of punk rock friends. And it was funny because back then in 2005 in high school, all of us were obsessed with our hair. Like, that was just the number one thing. And I remember my friend, she always carried a hair straightener with her to school. That's how obsessed everybody was with hair back then. And during lunchtime, she would fire it up, and then she and I would kind of fix our hair. So, because I had like this whole like 80s hairstyle going on, and it required straight hair to do it. And my hair is naturally curly. Not like super curly, but wavy curly. And so, yeah, I was laughing at that thought, just remembering it. I would not want to relive those days, but it's interesting to think back on it. But yeah, I did leave a comment on that video. And the fact that you just read it, that's hilarious. Yeah. Let's see. Chris says, my grandparents' home also had similar flooring to what old ocean liners had in second-class areas of the ship. Nice. Yeah, I remember you left a comment earlier that was also talking about how they had wall paneling and stuff like that. It'd be really cool. I think if I had a house or something that I owned, I would like to make a room, like maybe like a small like office or library, or even just a place where I could live stream. That I could panel the walls in like a really nice wood. Like, one of my favorites is quilted maple. I really like quilted maple a lot. And so I'd probably panel it in quilted maple and design it to look like a cabin on an ocean liner, like the Queen Mary. I would love to do that if I had the money and the space and the time. That'd be really cool, but I don't foresee that happening. But if I ever get the chance, I will do it that way. So, Justin says, I should rather say, Alex, that I like having this video on in the background while I am doing my art. That didn't come out right before. Oh yeah, well, you know, it's good to have these. My chat is not keeping up. Hold on. I have to refresh the chat once in a while because it won't keep up. There we go. Stormy Blitz says, was animals allowed on the Queen Mary? Yes, they were. So mostly it was dogs, but there were cats, and there were all kinds of animals, fish and chickens. So I have a video about that, actually. It's on my Queen Mary documentary series playlist, and it's called Queen Mary's Dog Kennels, I think it was, or Voyages with Dogs. Anyway, it's on my list of Queen Mary documentaries. So if you go to the Queen Mary docu-series playlist, it's on there. It's a good video. Another one of those videos that just did not get very much attention, surprisingly. But yeah, I think you'll like it. There's lots of cool stories on that one. Hello, Mike. Good to have you back. Top Impressive Line says, hello, Alex. Sorry I'm late. I was watching Ocean Liner Designs live stream. Ah! Oh, no. I dropped. Jeez. I dropped the whole biscuit in there. Lachlan says, my favorite part of the Mary is the main lounge, the Kong drape curtains and shears, the rare wood veneers, the comforter armchairs and couches, and the light fittings like the recessed and vase. I agree entirely. You know, the Queen Mary still has a lot of her original curtains. They're all kept aboard the ship. They're not kept in proper air conditioning, but at least they are wrapped with plastic, so they're protected. But yeah, she still has a lot of her original curtains, or at least the ones that came with the ship when she arrived in Long Beach. So a lot of curtains from the 60s. But there are still a lot of Art Deco curtains left on the ship that are in storage. What's the weather like, Alex? We still have winter weather, so I live near Portland, Oregon. So it's northern Oregon. We have lots of wet weather throughout the year. So even today, it's very cloudy, very rainy and cold. But nice. I love that weather. Alex on the seaside of Bulgaria says, which is your favorite cruise ship when not mentioning the Cunard ships? I don't even have a favorite Cunard cruise ship. I don't like cruise ships, so I don't think they look nice at all. So yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even have one. I don't even have a Cunard cruise ship favorite. So, yeah. Miles says, just came from Mike Brady's live stream. Someone named Alex sent him a nice model of the Queen Mary. Yeah, there was a guy on Facebook named Alex who was printing his own models of ships, and I think he made one of the Queen Mary. I thought that was pretty cool. Beluga says, have you watched the Poseidon Adventure? Of course I have. Justin says, this might be a silly question, but have you ever watched The Love Boat? No, I haven't watched it. I don't think it's really my kind of show anyway. Lachlan says, my favorite woods are Old English elm burr, maple burr, and walnut burr. The burr makes it stand out from normal woods. I agree. I really like, let's see, what one of those. Walnut burr is, of all my favorite burrs, walnut burr is probably one of my favorites. It's just so beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. Justin says, more importantly, should there be, as I think, an ocean liner themed series done in Downton Abbey style? What do you think? I think it would be a revolutionary television. You know, I've been saying that for the last couple of years, actually, is that they should do a Downton Abbey style Queen Mary themed show, because, but not just ocean liner themed. I think it should be Queen Mary. And the reason why is because people have said to me, Alex, do you think if they made a really cool blockbuster movie about the Queen Mary that people would come to the ship? And I said no. And the reason why is because what made Titanic so popular was at the very end, everybody died. Well, except for Rose. But everybody died. You know what I'm saying? The ship sank, and it made for a really good disaster movie, with respect, again, to the fact that real people actually died on the Titanic. But as a movie goes, it made a very, very good disaster movie. Thing is that you can't make a movie about Queen Mary because there was no disaster. So, you know, the biggest disaster that happened didn't even happen on the ship, it happened off the ship. You know, that was, you know, when the ship struck the HMS Curacao. So the thing is that Queen Mary would not make for a very good movie because there's just nothing to base the movie on. So, but what would work is a Downton Abbey style show on the Queen Mary. You could do everything from the high command, you know, talking about the captains and the different officers. And the good news is, you know, in real life, those people switched from ship to ship on occasion. So just like a TV show, you have people that come in and out by season. So, you know, you have characters that are introduced in one season then are gone the next. So that's perfect for a TV show. And the same thing for passengers. You could have different passengers that are highlighted each episode. You know, some people that are mysterious, some people that are funny, some people that are mean, you know, that kind of thing. So it would make a perfect TV show. And the Queen Mary is still around, so you could film on the ship, which would be easy because the ship is not too far from Hollywood, where all the studios are, so it would be easy to film on the Queen Mary. But yeah, it should be done for the Queen Mary, because I think if there was a successful Downton Abbey style show shot on the Queen Mary, it would help give the Queen Mary a really good, what do you call it? It would help give the Queen Mary really good publicity and probably help the ship be more popular in the coming years. I really do think so, yeah. Daniel Ramirez says, "Hi, hey Alex, do you go to train shows?" I try to, but I don't go to every single one. I only go to ones that I really think I'll get, you know, some good return for my money. So, but yes, I do occasionally attend train shows. Russell Cooper says, "Why do ocean liners from 100 years ago have 3 or 4 funnels, whilst today they usually have 1? It all has to do with how many boilers the ships used to have. So funnels, first and foremost, are always put on ships to vent things, but in the past, funnels were used more specifically to vent the exhaust gases from boilers. Ships today do not have boilers. They don't need them. So the only thing that they have to vent is the engine exhaust, which are usually diesel engines. And they only need 1 funnel to exhaust diesel engines. So that's why ocean liners back then had, you know, up to 4 funnels, or 5 in some cases. But today cruise ships only have 1 funnel, and it's just to vent the engines. That's all. So it's all for utilitarian purposes. Alex Seaside of Bulgaria says, "I'm actually surprised that you have videos on a lot of stuff, and some videos which aren't about ships have quite a few views, but here on these live streams, ships is usually the main topic." It's just how the conversation goes, but you know, if somebody wanted to talk about trains, I could try. You know, if somebody wanted to talk about the history of San Francisco, or, you know, things like that, I'll definitely do it. I'll engage with it. But as you can see, people aren't asking me that stuff. They're asking me about ships, which is kind of funny because ships are probably one of the lesser things that I know about. You know, like I know a lot about Queen Mary, so I can hold a conversation on that, but you've seen people ask me, "Oh, what do you think about the SS America? What do you think about the," you know, and I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like, I don't know enough about ships to be able to really talk about them. You know, just the Queen Mary. So, yeah. Michael says, "Have you been on a Disney cruise?" No, I will not be on any cruises. I don't like cruising. Yeah. You know, the funny thing, Steve, is that I've gotten used to identifying the public spaces on the ship by their original designation. So, like, the first class main lounge, second class main lounge, first class smoking room, that kind of thing. I call it by the class and the room type. But in Long Beach, those rooms are given a different name. Like you mentioned, the Royal Salon. I never got used to it, so I actually don't know what the Royal Salon is. And I've heard of the Queen's Room or Queen's Salon or something, and I don't know what room that is. I've gotten used to calling it by its original designation. To me, it's a lot less confusing that way. Yeah. I had to think about it. But yeah, it is a lot less confusing to me that way. That's why I do it. But oh, Miles High says, "Have you seen the film The Legend of 1900? Yeah, I'm sorry, but I watched it with my friend Chris, and we both hated that movie. We hated that movie with a passion. I was really angry when I finished watching it. I was like almost violently angry. I had to turn off the TV. I'm like, I'm done. Curly Q says, do you have an opinion on British steam trains? Not really. I don't really know much about them. Alex C. out of Bulgaria says, about the number of funnels, I must add that in the past, the more funnels there were, the bigger and faster the ship was. By the 1930s, people wanted clean profiles and, you know. I have to disagree with that, Alex in the seaside of Bulgaria. The number of funnels and the size of the ship didn't necessarily correlate with each other. True, they were generally faster, but they weren't necessarily the fastest. I mean, you know, when you compare Mauretania to Titanic, for instance, Mauretania was a lot faster than Titanic ever could have been. And yet, you know, Titanic was larger than Mauretania and also had 4 funnels. You know, so the thing is that the funnels and the size of the ship don't necessarily correlate with the speed either. You know, I mean, look at, you know, for the longest time, one of the fastest ships to ever exist was the SS Turbinia, and that had only 1 funnel. So it wasn't a big ship, but it was very, very fast, and it was faster than Mauretania, I believe, so if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, I don't want people to get confused, because I think people oversimplify things and they go, oh, more funnels, bigger ship means faster. And it's not necessarily true, because like you said, especially by the 1930s, you know, Queen Mary had 3 funnels, not 4, and yet could go faster and was much larger than other ships before her. So I think when you try to oversimplify it that way, it can get people really confused. Because I've had people ask me, oh, this ship had, you know, 4 funnels or something and wasn't as fast. And I'm like, yeah, it's because the funnels and the size of the ship don't correlate with the speed. It's just, the funnels were merely a way of venting exhaust. And sometimes you just had a lot of exhaust to vent. So, yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Lachlan says, you ever heard of the Sydney Harbour Bridge? Of course, it's a famous bridge. It was built in 1932, and our country just celebrated 90-year anniversary. It is an Art Deco masterpiece. You should check it out at some of the pics. Yes, I know all about it. Well, not the history of it, but I know I've seen a lot of it. It's a very famous bridge. You know, one of my favorite bridge in the entire world is the Golden Gate Bridge. And not just because it's, you know, a bridge I grew up seeing, you know, because I lived in California my whole life, but it's a beautiful bridge, and it's all Art Deco, and it is just fantastic. I mean, you go there and you're just in awe when you look at it, you know, and the fact that it's, you know, still being used to this day, and it still carries a lot of people and traffic, and so it's fantastic. I love the Golden Gate Bridge, so that's probably my favorite bridge. Michael Garcia. My dad is doing very well. I almost had him on tea time today, but I just didn't have time to really set everything up for 2 people, and you know, my day went by really, really fast. So I couldn't have him on the tea time today. It was just faster if I just did it by myself. So yeah, but he's doing fine, and he plans to start up a YouTube channel starting next month when we're in our new place. So Alright, I got caught up with comments, so I'm going to drink down this tea. That is stone cold. Jeez. I don't know what I expected, but yeah, it is stone cold. So, but yeah, gosh, I am so tired. Why am I so tired today? I ended up accidentally sleeping in and not getting anything done. And the tea has not woken me up at all. But I have to prepare and figure out what I'm going to do for dinner. But anyway, folks, it has been a very fun live stream. I did enjoy talking to you all. I'm going to have to end it right now because I do have other things to do. And, yeah, I'm going to try to get a video out this Friday. I have to try to get that Queen Elizabeth video out on Friday. It's taken too long. That's the thing about these documentaries. They take forever to make. And I have to do it this week or it's not going to be able to be done by the end of the month. So, it's now or never, basically. But yeah, so anyway, folks, thank you all for joining me. And I will see you all next time, which hopefully will be Wednesday. Yeah. Bye-bye.